What up, and welcome back to another Malazan Book of the Fallen video. We're doing it. It's time. This is the long-awaited, much-requested bookshelf tour. Let's get it. So people have been asking for a long time because I think, my camera has a good lens, so I'm able to blur out the background. But the downside of that is people are always asking me what books are back there on the shelf. So let's go back and switch over to the phone and we'll take a look. All right, so this is it. This is the bookshelf not blurred out. You can see my top shelf is where I have all my Game of Thrones Funko Pops kind of organized from least to most evil. Kidding. Next to that, I've got my 57 Chevy Bel Air. Into classic cars. When I was a kid, my dad built a 41 Ford truck, and this was the one I always said we were going to build together. Then he ended up dying on me. Got the rest of my Funko Pops. I think I got the first 25 Funko Pops when Game of Thrones came out. And they just kept coming out with more and more and more, and unless I wanted to get divorced, I couldn't continue to keep up with my addiction. If you go down the middle, here's kind of my little shrine to Game of Thrones. I got my Song of Ice and Fire, Johnny Walker whiskeys, my Game of Thrones coloring book, which I've taken a stab at, but I'm a terrible colorer, and I started desecrating the thing and decided to quit. I have a globe here, and what I want to do is get this covered with the Malazan globe. How cool would that be? But I haven't found anybody who can print on a globe for me. So if you know about that, let me know in the comments. This is my metal print that I bought from Santiago Lozano's art station. It's the moon spawn over coral, Memories of Ice. And then this is a little mama figure from South Africa that we got when we went and visited my wife's family over there. Over on this left side is when we start getting into the real goodness. This is my little Coltane coffee mug merch piece on the left, and I keep my little Jagat mask PPE in here. These actually came out good. When you wear this, you look like a little Jagat with your mask on. This is another little art piece that we picked up in South Africa. My wife is South African. Here is all of the main series paperbacks, which, as I collect the hardbacks, I hope to give these away. How badass would it be to have a full series giveaway? Let me know in the comments if you'd be up for that. That should lure some newbies in for sure. Below that, we have our Robert Jordan, New Spring, all the way through to A Memory of Light. My wife is currently on book 4. I stopped on Path of Daggers because I was sick of waiting for her to catch up. And then down below, we have our Ice contingent. We got the prequels, and then the main novels of the Malazan Empire. Stumbled on a random Hero of Ages first edition at a used bookstore, so I copped it. But my main Mistborns are here. They're just the kind of paperbacks. Here's my shrine to George R.R. Martin. These are also really good anthologies. Dangerous Women, Rogues, Tough Voyaging. Oh yeah, I forgot about this one, but Tough is bomb sci-fi, really cool world building and a cool concept. But these are the things that Malazan needs to step up on. You see these, The Art of Ice and Fire, Volume 1 and Volume 2. All those are is just straight up art books. Every page is a piece of delicious ice and fire art. Why can't we have that for Malazan? Then we got John and Ghost guarding Fire and Blood and the world of Ice and Fire. Of course, I'm a huge camper, so I've got my camping stuff right there. Underneath the paintings, we've got my full Dickens collection. So I went to grad school in England. We lived in a town called Lewis, and that was where Thomas Paine actually lived. Thomas Paine, The Rights of Man. Right below Thomas Paine's old apartment was a used bookstore, and they had this full Dickens collection, super nicely bound hardback. So I scooped up the whole thing. I'm huge Dickens fan. I'm not a student of literature, but I try to be, and this is my attempt at, trying to read these over and over to improve myself. Also have some other literary classics that I bought for my daughter when we lived in England as well. Some good, strong women writers there. Down below that is where the Malazan hardbacks are starting to grow. So we've got the Kharkanas Trilogy in hardback now and paperback. Gonna probably give those away at some point. We got our Bauchelain and Korbal Broach. I've got a first edition Gardens of the Moon and Memories of Ice, both of which don't match the rest of my other hardbacks, so I might be able to give those away too. And then I'm 3 books away from filling out the rest of the series. Down below that, these are our most important books. These are all of our pictures. You young whippersnappers wouldn't know about, we used to take pictures on this stuff called film, and then it would get developed and you would put it in these things called photo albums. And so these are what those are, all of our memories over the last 40-ish years, and then our scrapbooking materials in there. Below the RVs, I have like an ode to my former life, where this is all the types of stuff that we used to read, right? World War I stuff. John Stewart's book about the Earth, Team of Rivals. If you want to read an amazing biography, Abraham Lincoln's one of the most fascinating people anyway, and this book is so well written. Doris Kearns Goodwin. Killing Hope, if you want to know about international affairs, that's an interesting one. John Maynard Keynes, General Theory of Employment, Interest, and Money. It's a classic. Economic Interpretation of the Constitution. Random Walk Down Wall Street. I love that one because for all those super sharp hedge fund traders that think they're going to do better, this book has a lot to say about that. And then, of course, some more biographies of key influential people in history, and one of my favorite econ writers, authors, economists of all time, Amartya Sen. And then last but not least, just to prove to you guys that I didn't get a figure like this by accident, here is the other half of our hobby collection, right? And these are all of our cookbooks: barbecue, one pot, Indian food, beer can chicken, my mom's cookbooks from when I was a little kid. So yeah, that's it. I almost didn't want to do it. It feels like it kind of takes some of the luster off if you, or takes some of the mystery out when I show you, and then it's like not as big of a deal and kind of anticlimactic. But I think the other thing I'll do for this video is, I think when you ask to do a bookshelf tour, you're also kind of asking what books I read. And so to be able to really do that, we should actually dive into my Kindle library, because that's where the bulk of my reading actually takes place. There's actually like a lot more action happening here. Not that I'm a super well-read person, but just to give you a sense, as I've said many times on my channel, the reason why I stumbled onto Malazan was because I was reading Ice and Fire, waiting for A Dance with Dragons to come out, and I was sick of it, and I was looking around for what other fantasy, having come to fantasy so much later in my life, that I could tackle that was actually done, and that was one of the ways that I actually stumbled onto Steven Erikson. So if I sort these just kind of by author here, you could see that there's a decent smattering of some fantasy. These Daniel Abraham books are kind of interesting. I forget the name of the series. It's called The Dagger and the Coin, I believe. Yeah, The Dagger and the Coin. These ones I was really attracted to because they had a big kind of economic component, and there's like and I'm an econ nerd, but there's dragons and lore, and then kind of an economic development aspect and a kind of economic renaissance aspect that I was really drawn to. Daniel Abraham, I think, was one of George R.R. Martin's minions back in the day, and he's also, him and Ty Frank together make up James S.A. Corey, who does The Expanse, which I really like, and so I was really hopeful for these books. I actually like the idea of them better than I ultimately ended up liking the books, but they were fun, and if you're looking for something different, it's got dragons and economics. What else could you want? What else? Yeah, I have a bunch of other nonfiction stuff. As you can see, Preet Bharara, that's an awesome book if you're into legal things. Humans are underrated. If you're wondering what's going to happen with the future of automation and AI and all of that stuff, this actually is relevant for a Malazan audience, because one of the skills that they say is going to be hard to automate is empathy. So go figure. My old GRE prep guides are there. Then you can see all of my Steven Erikson stuff, the complete Malazan Book of the Fallen. Highly recommend getting that as a 10-book volume. I think I even have a link down below to it on Amazon, but it's nice to have it all as one big chunk and just read it as one big book the way it actually is supposed to be. And then comes all the Esselmont stuff, right? So you got Assail, Blood and Bone, Dancer's Lament, the prequels, Deadhouse Landing, Kalenved's Reach, the much loathed, which I love it, so you guys are all crazy. Then we have Knight of Knives, which I'm about to finish and put out a video. Depending on when this one comes out, that one might already even be done, but love me some Ice. Orb Sceptre and Throne is an amazing book, and I wish I could click on all these and show you the covers, but yeah, a lot of cool Ice books. We have some Neil Gaiman, American Gods. I haven't watched the show. Let me know down below if you watched that show, but that was a really good book. I like Gaiman a lot. And then I have a ton of Ursula Le Guin. I wonder why these aren't sorted in order. Sort by author. Because I have a Wizard of Earthsea here, which is the one I started with Le Guin. This is like classic fantasy, that I went through. Then I have all the Robin Hobb stuff. So if you haven't read Realm of the Elderlings, if I didn't have a Malazan channel, I'd have a Robin Hobb channel, because she is just straight up the bomb. Realm of the Elderlings is bomb. I like all 4 of the different series that go with it. Some people hate on some parts of it. I absolutely love them. I also have a lot of these anthologies, which I really like. Warriors, Dream Songs, Legends Volume 2, which are just short story collections, but usually you have these like ridiculously prolific authors that are writing like, kind of adjacent stories to their main worlds, and they're usually a lot of fun. And those books are like super expensive. I think if you try and buy Legends Volume 2 as a hardback, it's like $600 on eBay, but you can buy it on Kindle for like $15. So highly recommend. Then we get to the Robert Jordan contingent, right? And we see 14 or 15 books there, which I really like. And then even though these are sorted by author, then we get to the rest of the Le Guin stuff, right? Maybe it's because this one is Ursula K. Le Guin, but then we have The Farthest Shore, we have Tahanu, The Tombs of Atuan, The Other Wind. Those are all really good. And again, if you just love fantasy and you like wizards and stuff, I still think, and I'm trying to get my daughter into this one, Wizard of Earthsea, the bomb. Love me some Ged, Team Ged. Oh, and then this one, and I don't know if you can see my mouse when I'm doing this screen capture or not, but Struggles is a book by Santiago Lozano. He is one of my favorite Malazan artists. Actually, this painting, I think right there, where it's Moonspawn over coral in Memories of Ice. He painted that, and he's actually a writer himself, and he did this whole micro fantasy book, which is super good, really interesting. You can get it on Amazon for like $1, and just a super quick, fun read, and he's really starting to craft a world that I think is going to be the bomb, so I would highly recommend picking it up, and I'm excited to kind of see where it goes. He has a lot of options here to flesh out that I think would be a lot of fun to read. Oh yeah, and then here's all my anthologies. So Dream Songs Volume 1, Volume 2, Warriors down here is also an anthology by George R.R. Martin, and I think Gardner Dozois. I'm killing that name, I know it. But those ones are really good. But the ones, if I could hype anything in here besides the Robin Hobb for somebody to consider getting into, that would be wild cards. And you can see that I have a ton of these wild card collections. I think there's like 28 or 29, maybe even 30 volumes now of wild cards. They're mosaic novels written by people like John Joss Miller, George R.R. Martin, Melinda Snodgrass. There is a lot of really, really good talent that writes for these books, and they each write their own characters, separate individual stories that are somehow interconnected, and they tell this overarching tale of a book, and it's an alternate history, so it starts right after World War II in America, and then a bunch of events happen with an alien plague, and I don't want to give too much away, but that's on the first couple of pages, and then it alters people's genetics, and so you have all these superheroes that are called aces, you have jokers who are like severely deformed, sometimes with ridiculous powers too, but less accepted by society, and then the whole history plays out like all the way up to current time, so you get like 70 years of alternate history and all these characters who age up and die, their kids and grandkids. It's just a lot of fun, and not as deep as reading Malazan, but just so much fun. Highly recommend. If you're into comics, it's kind of a comic, it's kind of fantasy, it's a big adventure, and I'm just a huge fan. And then I guess last but not least, I do have some Rothfuss. I got the Name of the Wind, I got the Wise Man's Fear, I even got the Ari prequel or side story as a novel that somebody gave me as a book for through work, and I've read them all. I'm not the hugest fan. I know that's going to be controversial. Rothfuss is hugely loved out there, but it's just not for me. But I'm glad I read them. I still enjoyed it, just not a favorite. And then, of course, as I showed you over on the bookshelf, we got all the Mistborn stuff. So, yeah. That's pretty much it. I'm not the most well-read. I came to fantasy late in life, but I stumbled onto it through happenstance and just ended up really liking it and learning that there was a lot more to life than reading nonfiction and biographies and stuff like that. So I have spent the last kind of 15 years trying to make up for lost time here and there in between kids and work and all the other good stuff. So let me know what books you like and what I should check out. I know I need to check out Abercrombie. I know people are all up on the Stormlight Archives and Way of Kings and all of that stuff, but I'm curious to hear your thoughts. For me, high up on the list is Abercrombie, Black Company, maybe something else after that. I don't know. Let me know. But hope you enjoyed the bookshelf tour. And until next time, happy reading.